Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 490. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Hey.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Yo.
Welcome, listeners. Welcome, viewers, to 490 of the Gamecast. We have an extremely fun topic for you guys tonight. We thought we'd have some fun. We did it on our movie cast. We did our top 90s cartoons. That was fun. Check that out. This Gamecast is going to be our
We
top...
also just want to say a unanimous number one in that.
Yeah.
So
Never
First
happened.
time ever in 490 episodes.
Yeah.
First time ever. We've all agreed upon the same thing.
We've
That's
never
number
agreed on anything.
it's been like
this is a
75% here and there, and then finally, wow, we did it. We did it, 90s. You saved it.
In the 90s. Yes. So check that out to find out what that was that gave us the all consensus number one. This, I don't think will happen here. I think
No,
we're doing
definitely.
individuals. We're going to do individuals. You guys did your Genesis games?
Yeah,
Right.
that's fine.
We did the
Wait, are we doing
top...
Genesis and Super Nintendo?
Well, I never had a Super Nintendo, so it's just Genesis for me.
So I mean, we can keep the list together if you'd like. But did you do both, Corey?
Yeah. I mean, I
Oh,
played
okay.
both. It wasn't like I didn't play them, but I.
Then let's just do the list. Then this is gonna be our top five. I mean, the thing for me is I was an SNES person, so we couldn't do the whole 90s because my
Gen 2.
first
Gen 2. Let's just say
Yeah.
Gen 2.
Gen 2. My first idea was let's do the 90s, and then I'm like, my list was like 40 deep by the time I started listing games that I loved in the 90s, and I'm like, okay,
No way.
we can't do this.
That spans like 3 systems, like 4
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
Five.
I just five. Yeah, I could not. I could not do it. I was like, holy crap! I mean, I rattled off 10 in 5 minutes. You guys saw that. I rattled off 10 in 5 minutes of that I would put on the list. So we kept it to the Gen 2, which is like SNES and Genesis, and whatever else was out there at that point in time.
Nothing matters.
Television.
It wasn't blow your background, Jim. It wasn't blow your background.
But my render is lower. Like, I'm not using as much CPU. I can see it. Ah, what the
Network,
shit?
yeah.
Fucking garbage. Goddamn
Don't you work in
iMac.
IT?
This is why this is garbage. This iMac is. It's not my
Wait,
internet.
Are you the only one with a Mac?
Probably.
Let's just go on. Let's
Microsoft
not
and this
troubleshoot.
Apple shit. Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the Skype app on this. It's something with this iMac's hardware. You guys see how fast I can mix stuff in this. It's super fast, but with Skype, it just hates it.
All right. So what are we
Alright,
doing here? Are we
Anyways, let's get into what I've been up to. This is gonna be our top SNES and Genesis games of the 90s. So we're gonna get into that in just a minute. But first, let's get into what I've been up to, guys. I will lead us off with saying how amazing I love Ori. Like Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Wow, I'm enjoying this game. Like I'm writing down this game. I have to keep it on mind for my Game of the Year contention. How much I'm loving this game. This is also not a usual style game that I've been playing because of how, I don't know. As I got older, it's the Twitch reaction times of things. It's just down for me. So it's like I don't play a lot of these games, and it's weird for me. Maybe this hit at the right time that I can just, I don't know. I fail so often in this game at the puzzles, but then I keep picking myself back up and going back to it and finishing it and doing it, and you get that sense of accomplishment. Like shit, yeah, I fucking did that. And then, that, like, it's a great accomplishment. So, like, so many times, like, you can't touch the ground. Or so many times you have to make, like, the perfect jumps and time things off the walls properly, especially during chase sequences in this game. That, like, I love this. Like, I'm really enjoying this game. Visually, it's fantastic. The story has been fine. I wouldn't say the story is, like, blow me away incredible. I mean, it's got a nice sad tale. And there's some interesting, like, twists and stuff that happen. Some sad moments. And I just love the mechanics of the game. Like, the mechanics are what make this game amazing. And I know that you've probably talked about this with probably Hollow Knight before, but, like, using your abilities to traverse the terrain to get higher. I mean, you got to go up and then you go down. I mean, you got to go all over the map to get through places. And you have to use these abilities. I just did a mission where you have to be timing in, like, you have a certain amount of, like, magic, we'll call it, gems. And you use these abilities for those. And there's an ability you get later that lets you brighten the room, which you need later. And then, like, it's also, like, you have to use that, but sparingly because it drains your gems. And if you run out of time, like, you fade to black and you're dead. So it's an interesting, like, part of the game. It's a mechanic that it was awesome to include in there. So I'm really enjoying this game. I have not finished it yet. I just got to the last one of the last sections, I believe. So I've got the main quest, it seems like, together, and I'm going towards the final boss. So I'm guessing I'm close. So I'll have it done next week. I just didn't finish it today like I wanted to because I had so much work. But that's what I'm playing. That, and I haven't yet opened Animal Crossing because I'm afraid of putting that in the system and not finishing Ori. That's really what happens. Like, I'm afraid of, like, because I've watched so many people tweet about how good this game is, and I'm like, I'm not. It's sitting on my TV unopened, like sitting right in front of it. And I have Doom, and I'm like, Doom's been sitting in the bedroom here. It's sealed up. I'm going to get to it, but Animal Crossing is next. There's no question in my mind. Tony, I'm guessing you've been playing that like crazy, right?
Yeah, so much. And actually, I was playing up until the moment we started recording because I opened up my gates because a friend from work actually got it, and he had never played any Animal Crossing. So I was like, oh, here, I'll give you some fruit or whatever, like, to help start out. And the way it works is that you open up your island to, like, your friends. So then instantly right away, like, two of my other friends that I know from the convention just showed up, and they just started, like, running around. We started doing stuff, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, you do a lot of ad hoc, like, just silly stuff. But, yeah, it just gets you going in that cycle of, like, in a way, it's its own loot system, not like Borderlands or Destiny or Diablo-like, but it's just like, hey, you have more abilities now, and you have harder recipes and different ingredients. You can make better and cooler stuff, and just like, and I could decorate my island to make it, whatever I want it to be and stuff like that. So yeah, it's awesome, and it really is like the perfect game for the quarantine of 2020.
Yeah, it really hit at a great time for the game. Unfortunately, what we're dealing with
great
in
time.
real life is tough, but also I think that they I feel like they really allowed it to be the game it needed to be and not rush it out, which was good.
Oh yeah.
I think that was I've seen so much for this game. I just can't. Anyways, so I have a 7-year-old here that I want to like get into this game as well because she's starting to play, like, we're playing Just Dance together, and that's great, especially during this time of not being able to move as much. I was just talking about before this podcast started. I've been on calls literally in front of my computer all day. Yeah.
Can't go to the gym, so you gotta find time.
Yeah.
Like then,
well, I usually
walk.
walk.
You're like, oh, it's crazy.
I have a campus usually to walk across. Like, I usually walk, at least around the campus a few times, and that's like a mile quick. And I'm not doing it right now. So we play Just Dance, and I didn't mention that in what I've been up to, but it is what it is. I mean, the game's not great, but it's movement. So, but yeah. So, Tony, anything else?
I definitely got back into Ring Fit Adventure 2 because, again, can't go to the gym or anything like that.
But you can't buy that anywhere.
It's funny because I was talking to my other friend Alex, and she's like, "Why is this game $200 right now on eBay?" And I was just like, "Because everybody bought it. Because as soon as China hit, all these people started buying them and selling them over to China. So we ran out, and now it hit us, and we just don't have the supply anymore." But yeah, I gotta say that game is actually a surprising amount of workout because I started playing around with some certain options. You could just do like targeted blasts, like, for the different groups and stuff like that. And like that ring, oh my God. Like I always kind of looked down on Pilates as like, oh, whatever. That's like a, housewife, mom, whatever thing. And a lot of the stuff, I'm just like, oh my God, this ring, like throw it away. Like it's a demon. Like I can't do another squeeze right now. It's just not going to happen and stuff like that. But they added this mode last week, which is pretty much Beat Saber. If anybody here has played that with a VR and stuff like that, but it's with the ring content and they have like the music from the game, but they also put some stuff from like Mario and Zelda and Splatoon. So that was pretty cool. It was like a nice free bonus mode. No, you didn't have to pay for anything like that. So that's cool. Definitely getting my money's worth out of it.
I wish I could buy it. I really wish I could try it.
I'll let you know if I see it in stock.
Yeah, please buy it immediately and mail it to me. I don't care. I'll pay you for it. Yeah. It's cheaper than $300 either way. So, all right, Mike, what have you been playing? As you on? You're muted.
I think you're muted, Mike.
You're muted. You definitely are muted. I can see it.
It's been a period of experimentation for me. I don't have as much time as everyone else. I am going to work still, but I have an extra hour every night at least. But my brother had to, he felt maybe a little sick, so he quarantined for a week. It turned out he was fine. But I did lend him Jedi Fallen Order. Now, he is a more casual gamer. He plays mostly sports games and, varies like specific things that he likes, like Uncharted or Pokemon or Zelda. So I was curious to see how he would like this, and he didn't know to parry for the first 2/3 of the
Ooh.
game.
I don't even know how you
Two-thirds.
get that.
Yeah,
Two-thirds.
he was fully on like Dathomir, and I'm like,
The game definitely teaches you. Like I was like,
You
the
have
game,
to do it.
Yeah,
you have to do it in one of the fights.
I don't know. He's too impatient. I think he just like sort of spammed through like the tutorials, I guess, and he was very annoyed by the whole Dark Souls, like you die, everyone comes back thing. But he said he liked the story, so that has nothing to do with what I played. But it was an interesting experiment. He did get through it in 5 days, so he liked it enough to beat it relatively quickly, although he was just home.
The mark of a good game, though, is like when you finish those sections, and then let's say you die and they come back, they're pretty easy to breeze through once you get that timing down. Like I never had a problem.
But he was playing the game wrong the whole time. But
yeah.
not the whole time, most of it. But I was happy he's so disconnected with like our hyper the media cycle. He was able to be actually surprised by the ending of that game, so that was cool. But for me, I'm not a fan of Animal Crossing or Doom, so I'm diving deep into Game Pass right now, and so I decided to have the Metal Gear Solid. What is it? It's like I think it's the 360 like HD collection where it's MGS 2 and 3. So even though it shows you the chronological order when you boot this up, to have like as far as the story goes, so they want you to play 3 before 2, which seems even dumber to me. But whatever. I mean, I guess they wanted the timeline set. I started with 2, and it's unplayable practically for me. I must have waited too long, but you can't do anything in this game. Like the fixed camera, the not being able to see ahead of you other than like this awkward like switch to first person, and then you can't move while you do it. And I don't understand the whole concept of stealth in these old games where you can't like do like takedowns or anything like that. So it was I gave it a try. It looked cool. It seemed like it might have been interesting. I liked the whole tanker idea, but I gave up on it after just alerting everyone and like just trying to karate kick my way through like 10 guys with machine guns. It was just a mess. So I'm like, all right, screw this game. So then I tried Snake Eater. That's MGS 3, which does seem like a pretty healthy step forward.
Yeah.
But it still has a lot of the same issues. And
it's not 5. 5 really perfected the game so well, and that's a great jumping in point. But the problem is like when you go back.
Yeah.
I know. I know what you're saying.
This might have been because we talked about our decade, and I had 5 in that list.
Yeah.
Like, I'll try this now. 3, I'm still gonna try to keep playing it. Right now. I hit a wall where I actually have to
play 4.
I don't know.
Shit.
I don't know 4's gameplay.
I don't know where 4 is. Like, is it available?
I liked 4's gameplay.
No, it's only on PS3.
I really liked the gameplay of MGS4. I understand your story. That story, by the way, Tony, continuing our conversation, is more confusing than MGS2.
They're all like that's the thing. But if you play 4 without playing 1 through 3, you're gonna have no idea. And,
sure.
You have to play
you need to,
3.
In fact, you have to play 3. Like you need 3 mostly in that game. Like there's no question, and of course 2.
So the early part of 3, the story seems coherent so far. Mm-hmm. But there is some magical bullshit happening.
He will go off the rails at some point.
Yeah, I know. I expect that from what I saw.
However, Kojima's a prophet, man. Look at what he built a game about social distancing.
Sure. But I also am noticing how fucking verbose everyone is in this game, and it's super annoying already. Like, I'm just trying to save my game. I don't need to hear like a conversation about Godzilla movies. Like, what the fuck is going on here? But it's funny. You can skip it, but so I might continue trying it, or I'll just focus on the other thing that I've been playing, which is I did, finally get Spawn and Terminator since I was there. I downloaded them both for Mortal Kombat. So I'm trying them a little bit too, but there's only a little bit of shelf life. I do feel still mostly done with that game, but I'll run through a couple of their ladders and see how they go. I feel like they don't really play my style. They're both slower, sort of grabby characters. Spawn has actually a little more versatility, but you know, I'll check them out. But yeah, I'm all over the place. We'll see if I continue a little here.
All right, Tony. Oh, you already did yours. Corey, what have you been up to?
I've just been playing the Borderlands DLC, so it's good. It's Lovecraftian theme.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. That's it. Let's get into our topic. Top 5 SNES or Genesis games of the 90s. I'm going to kick us off like I always do, guys. This was a hard list to make. And if you want to do this as well, we have a time constraint with a certain member, but if you have to go, you have to go. I get it.
Oh, yeah, no.
But
Let's go.
I want to give a shout out to these games because it was so hard to make a top. Well, the top 5 was easy.
You give us shout outs right now, Jim?
Shout outs. Super Return of the Jedi.
Why don't you do the shout outs after?
Because I'm going to get into a list
what if
of
they're
games.
on our list? What if they're on our lists?
I would be shocked, but I guess I'll wait. Okay.
I'm just saying, like that's like you know,
right.
It's kind of you don't want to like do the.
I'll give a shout out afterwards to these games.
Yeah.
I already gave a shout out to one, Super Return of the Jedi. That's already known. All right, number 5 for me, Donkey Kong Country.
Remember
the first
playing
one.
this in the Blockbuster, the tournament.
Yes, because of that tournament, this game holds a special place in my heart. Not only that, but the game looked amazing. For an SNES game, like, how good these graphics were. Now, of course, Donkey Kong Country 2 is arguably a better game, but I gave it to the first game because of it's the first one. It played amazingly, and I played it to death. Trust me, I played it to death to prepare for that tournament at Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking again, I got really good at this game. You didn't miss anything. I restarted as I played for that tournament, and so I know the ins and outs, the hidden spots of this world to get the most bananas in every level. That's how I had to learn, and love this game 100%. Number 5.
Blew my mind, the graphically that game on a
it was so good.
16-bit console. Jesus.
I could not believe it was 16-bit. Like, holy crap, this looked amazing. So I couldn't believe this was done. If you look back even now, how was this done on the magic of the SNES, like a 16-bit console? Like, how was this done? It was unbelievable. So it may be the best. Yeah, it's the best looking game on my list, I would say. Easily, I'll easily say.
I'd say that too.
Yeah. We all know my top 5. Top 5s are pretty similar. I mean, Tony, give me your number 5.
Ooh, my number 5, it's probably going to be Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. And this one, I really had to come down to the wire here because, like, Mario World is really awesome. It helped, push the 2D side scroller forward. But Yoshi's Island was just an amazing platform experience because it played differently to all the other Mario games with the Yoshi mechanics and the eggs and the level design, the graphics and everything like that. The music, just everything about it was like really cool. And again, kind of like what I was talking about in the movie cast, it was one of those series where, like, unfortunately, since then the Yoshi series just has gone downhill. Where it's just like it peaked in its first iteration, and just like everything else since then, it's been like, mediocre-ish to like maybe above average to below average and stuff like that. But yeah, Yoshi's Island.
Oh yeah, great game. Mario World is. See, that's what also got me on this idea too. It's been a combination of things. Last week you talked about playing Mario World on the SNES Classic thing, and it got me like thinking about how great these games were when we played them when they were younger. Mm-hmm. Again, a reason why this list is awesome. Corey, give us your number 5.
Well, my number 5 is Super Star Wars Jedi. So.
Damn it! Damn it!
Oh fucker! Because I didn't play a lot of.
Can I get my shout out then? Because it still was close to my 5. It was still there.
Well, yeah. So, but no, it's funny because I didn't play that many Super Nintendo games, obviously. So
fantastic game though.
But yeah, when you do play one, you want to play something that is super popular and everybody's playing, kind of thing. And so yeah, that game super difficult, obviously.
Oh yeah.
It's like you don't like realize. Like I went back and I played on the Wii U when I had the Wii U.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh god, I can't do this. I can't even play this game anymore.
I used to fly through this game too when I was younger. I could play through this game and like I would not let go of the speed trigger at the final run for the Millennium Falcon through the Death Star. I would just speed through it. Like,
and it's interesting because it is the best one of the
Yeah.
three of them. So
Yeah, Empire was great. Super Star Wars, I think, is the most like rickety one. Like really, there's like, yeah, but they've improved them consistently, and this game is excellent. Like you're right. I mean, it was almost in my top 5. Really was.
Mhm.
So excellent, Mike, number 5.
This is tough because this is where there was a lot of things. I want to do some honorable mentions too, but whatever.
We'll get him at the end. Get him at the end.
I'll go with Vector Man. And he's getting on here because he is a exclusive, I think.
are you doing Genesis and Super Nintendo separately, or are we doing like?
I just don't have any Super Nintendo because I never really played it, so I only had.
Genesis games would make this list.
No,
So I didn't know. I thought we were doing
Look
them
at
separate.
that.
So
I
I
know
had 2 separate lists. All
you
right.
made 2 top 5 lists of games.
I thought you were doing. I thought you said to do 2 separate ones. That's what I thought the thing was.
Wow.
So then, yeah. All right.
Man, Corey, you're gonna be like, wow. Can you merge them quickly? Can you kick Return of the Jedi off the list then?
But yeah. So anyway, for me, Vector Man. I don't know if any of you guys played this game.
Played it.
I played it. I mean,
Vector Man.
it was one of like the biggest Sega releases for Genesis.
It was
Nice.
so hyped for me. Like as an SNES fan, I wanted this game.
It was so 90s too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it was just very power up based. You can morph. The guy can morph. It was the design. He's basically a dude made out of like a bunch of balls of different shapes, and it had this like environmental thing, like message to you were trying to like clean up the world that was destroyed by like garbage. You had a projectile, standard one, but you could get some upgrades, increase your projectiles. It looked great too. This had the similar like faux 3D type of graphics at that time that were like mind blowing, and you also had certain sort of used the design of the character in the power ups as well, because your character was like this ball based robot who could morph into different shapes and do certain things to get through certain areas or attacks. And this one, and it was fun. It was real cool. I tried to replay this recently, and it was a lot harder than I remembered as a kid. But it's real cool, and I think, yeah, it's my number 5 just because it was very impactful and a good exclusive Genesis game.
Okay, Corey, do you have a 5 now remade or not yet?
Well, yeah, I'll just do whatever.
See, the thing was, my original plan was for you both to do Genesis and me and Tony to do Super Nintendo.
Okay, I mean, I can do that. I won't do my my Super Nintendo stuff.
But if you want to merge the 2 together, if you could do that. I didn't know you played a lot of Super Nintendo games. That was my thing, because I played a lot of it. I didn't play any Genesis. You had the Genesis.
Most people had the Super Nintendo. Like,
yeah, I would play Genesis at your house the only time I would play it. Yeah. So, yeah.
No, I mean, there's 3 games that I would say that on Super Nintendo that I would really want to talk about, but not. But
you think they're all going to be mentioned anyway?
Probably.
Oh, they will. Yeah.
All right.
Super Nintendo's got a big class.
So then my number 5 Genesis game is Streets of Rage 2. All right.
That should be on you. There you go. I'm better with that one than I love Return of the Jedi, but Streets of Rage 2 is an amazing game. So yeah, it's a fantastic game. You want to talk about it real quick or?
No, it's a beat 'em up. It's definitely they did a great job expanding on it from the first one. New characters, cool stuff.
I've only played that one later in like collections. I didn't have that like at the time, but yeah, it's a top 2.
Yeah, again, also having a brother same age, so, like we played co-op.
Yeah, good co-ops. That's what I used to do with Matt a lot, with like Double Dragon, Battletoads and Double Dragon, that kind of stuff. All right, my number 4 was F-Zero.
Interesting.
Yeah, F-Zero for me. This is, now remind you all, this is way before internet. Like, you couldn't look up secrets. I would play this game. I got so good at the game at some point where I was trying to make impossible jumps across levels so I can beat them. So I figured out a way to hack a level, and I can't remember what it was called, but I would be able to jump the gap all the way across the stage and make it to the other side and continue on in the race and cut people. Like Super Mario Kart kind of trick where you can jump over the median. I would do this in F-Zero quite a bit. I play that game that much. Like, I love this game. I use the yellow car quite a bit, but for those jumps, you need to use the pink one or the the red one, pink one, or the blue, because the yellow was just not fast enough to make that jump properly. So it's amazing how awesome this game was in terms of the.
You'd have an invisible wall now in today's games.
Yes, but I jumped the stage. I would jump 3/4 of the stage. I would jump with my car. with the speed boost. You have to go one lap around, then you get one speed boost, and then you would hit that first jump and cut straight across the course to the other side. And as long as you didn't jump far enough, it would keep you on there. Sometimes you would bounce off, but great game. My number 4. Tony?
Oof, my number 4, it's going to be Final Fantasy VI.
Great game.
Again, kind of down to the wire here.
Yeah.
Between that or 4, or even 5 if you want to consider it, even though it never came out.
6 is the best
officially.
one.
Yeah, 6 is the best, and that was the one that really elevated like Square's role-playing game mechanic with a diverse cast and kind of cinematic. I mean, especially for an SNES
Super
game.
cinematic.
Like, yeah, super cinematic. And just the beautiful landscapes, the pixel art, the intricate like battle systems with the different summons and the equipment and stuff like that, accessories and whatnot. And it was just such an awesome story because, spoiler alert,
punky
like,
mechs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like you start the game out in a mech. It's like, holy shit. Like you start off as a bad guy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But and then spoiler alert, like halfway through the game, you lose. Like your party just loses and the bad guy just gets what he wants and like literally just destroys the world. You're just like, oh shit. Talk about motivation for the second half of the game. Like, okay, it's like, yeah, you failed at saving the world, so now you just have to, make with what you got, which maybe is a bit telling of modern day stuff. But anyway, Final Fantasy VI, awesome. I would love, like, don't get me wrong, as excited I am about Final Fantasy VII remake coming out, my heart, my inner heart, I just gotta pray and hope that Final Fantasy VI, they could do the same thing for like 3D.
It's a better story.
Like, yeah, it's better story, better characters, better music, in my opinion. Slightly better music.
I would love to see them, make that into a modern game.
That would be unbelievable to do that.
If I were like awesome. A billionaire, I would just throw money at Square Enix, be like, I don't care. Like, I will fund this entire game for you. Like, just fucking make it.
All right.
Well, I'll go with my number 4 Genesis game. So my number 4 Genesis game is Road Rash 2.
Nice
Road Rash.
game.
Wow, nice.
Dude, I love that game. That's one of those games that I have played. Yeah.
Road Rash and the sequel specifically, again, just better than the first one. But this racing games, I used to love racing games actually, and then you could actually kind of battle in this game too. It was just a lot of fun, like riding a motorcycle, hitting people with different weapons, and
I mean, I love that, riding up on them with a bat and then knock them off the bike. Yeah, exactly. Love that. So, Mike, your number 4.
Okay, this is kind of hard because I knew Vector Man was going to be 5 because at this point we're to games I replayed endlessly, but I needed to choose between a couple here. Should I do the one I replayed because it was really, really hard, or should I do
the first one that came to mind, Mike? Do the first one.
All right. I'll go.
Number 4.
I'm gonna go with X-Men. Right. I don't know if you guys know this one.
I love this game.
This game was really hard.
Hard as balls. Yep.
And it's part of why I replayed it. I replayed it, I think, within the last few years just to see how far I could go as an adult. Got a little farther, but still didn't beat it.
The only one I can remember on the SNES we got was the Arcade's Revenge, which I couldn't play that game. It was too fucking hard. But
I mean, this one you can get through the first 3 levels okay, but then after that things get insane. But based on maybe you might hear about from the other podcast, X-Men was a big deal at this time. So you could be Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Gambit, or Cyclops. They all had unique powers. Of course, it had that annoying thing with the powers were a meter that went down when you used them. But at boss fights, you could have assists with the other X-Men. Yeah, like Storm come down or Jean Grey move you. Iceman create a bridge, and it was co-op. But unfortunately, it was one of those games that you should never play co-op if you want to actually win, because it was just too hard to do with 2 people.
It was a tacked on co-op.
Yeah. But
you couldn't leave. You couldn't go the other person's going one way and you're trying to go the other way. They couldn't do anything. They just
once you did that, you would fall off the screen, and Jean Grey would bring you back, but it would hurt you. So it was a mess co-op. I mean, you can play maybe the first level co-op just for the fun of it, but another game that looked great and had a great theme, but it was just very hard. And I think it's still sort of like a goal of mine right now to try to beat this game.
Nice.
So it's up there.
Cool. All right. My number 3. Hang on, let me get my list. It's closed right now. Super Metroid. Super Metroid was a game that I didn't even play much myself. I would switch back and forth with my friend constantly, but he would play a lot of it too. The enjoyment of discovery in that game and power-ups and like traversal of that game, it was incredible. And the look of that game, a 2D side-scroller that looked that good, was amazing. Especially because I loved the first Metroid game so much. That was like one of my favorite games on the NES. Super Metroid was like the perfect version of that game, in my opinion. That was like, it made it amazing. Love this game so much. It was, God, I mean, I used to get magazines, back when magazines were the way you get your news, to try to find maps to help me in that game, because it was so hard to find your way around in that game. And I remember just placing the map in front of me, and even then the game was freaking hard to get through it. So it was a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed that game as a kid. And we, like I said, we would switch back and forth between that, my friend and I. We would go, like, I could hand the controller off kind of thing. So. Yeah.
I'll talk about it just because it's my number 2. But yeah, Super Metroid is like the definitive like genre creation. Like, I mean, you know, it's Metroidvania at this point now because, you know, Castlevania ripped it off to survive and stuff like that. But it's just an awesome mechanic. And Jim, kind of like what you were saying about Ori, you know, when we play it, like the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, yep, that's Metroid. Like, that's what it is. Like, you get power-ups. You have to master that power up, and then it's layers upon layers of like, hey, we want you to combine these things now. And you're just like, whoa, I can do that? Like, I have to do that. Okay, that's cool. But it was just almost a haunting experience because, you know, again, it's like you're one character against like an entire world full of like alien pirates, like local alien wildlife, like the planet itself, and just like against all odds, like huge sci-fi stuff, you know, really cool weaponry and items, and the soundtrack is awesome. I love the SNES sound chip and stuff like that. But and then even like to like modern day era, like, I mean, it pretty much created its own category with like speedrunning video games, because that, I'm not going to say it was the first one, but like it was the one that put speedrunning on like the radar, and it's now this huge, you know, own thing that, you know, owns Twitch for like 2 weeks out of the year and stuff like that. So just an awesome, well-designed game.
What's your number?
What was your number? Number 3.
My number 3. So hard. But it's Chrono Trigger.
Right.
This
nice.
I know.
I was gonna say, like, I just want to make sure that the ones that I have on my list, the top 3, were gonna be on somebody's list.
Chrono Trigger is just like the definitive RPG experience of that generation, because again, it created this diverse ensemble cast of really colorful, unique characters with their own traits. They weren't just like generic, like, oh, whatever, like I'm like the ice person and I'm the fire person. Like, I have like one line and like nothing to do with the rest of the game. But on top of that, like, just had this fantastic story of like time traveling that just be like, oh, yeah, whatever, you're just like, you know, teenage kid, and all of a sudden you're like traveling back in time to medieval era, and then the next time you jump, you're into the future, and then the next time, apocalyptic future, and the next time you're all the way back in like the dinosaur age. So it was just really awesome and like really groundbreaking for the time, especially for a Super Nintendo game. And then on top of that, just the multiple endings. I mean, I think there's like at least a dozen. I could be wrong on that, but it really encouraged you to play the game multiple times, because, and to my knowledge, this is the first game that had like a new game plus, where it's like, hey, you can have all your stats and levels and armor and items and all that stuff, and just start the new game over. You're just super overpowered, and you just blaze through like the, you know, boring bits of the game. That's like, okay, like this is the first boss. He's not a threat anymore and stuff like that. So just groundbreaking. And again, just talking like Final Fantasy 6, I would love a 3D complete remake, but I'm so scared. Like, that one is my sacred cow. Like, Final Fantasy 7 is like a sacred cow for a lot of people, but Chrono Trigger would be the one where like, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know. You don't mess with perfection.
This could take 15 years to make.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, Mike, Corey, you're number 3.
My number 3 Genesis game is Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man.
Wasn't that a different game than I had?
That was hard as shit.
I don't know. I didn't play the Super Nintendo version, so I don't know.
Super Nintendo we had 2 different versions, because that almost made my list as well. But
I had either a sequel or I had a Separation Anxiety. I don't know if that's in the same.
I think it's the same concept, but it's a different game, obviously. But yeah, this one, and if you notice, every game on this list is going to be a co-op game, because again, having a brother the same age, you could play together, and this was a great one. Like, just Spider-Man and that that comic book storyline was great. Having those villains, perfect combination there. Just simple stuff.
Well,
beat 'em up,
the second player in that one was Venom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's similar to the separation anxiety.
Yeah. What's your number 3, Mike?
My number 3 isn't that. That game was too hard to even play, really.
Oh.
for any stretch of time, we got kind of annoyed with it. But my number 3 is something that, like how I said, I tried to beat X-Men and will try decades later. This is one where I actually did, as I don't remember anymore, but decades later, as a 18 or 20-year-old, I don't even know for sure, beat a game that I couldn't as a younger. That is Toy Story for the Sega Genesis.
Nice.
If you recall, Toy Story came out in '95, so this is the tail end of the generation. This is probably the best looking pseudo 3D game that you could get on these systems as well. And it was just solid throughout. Play as Woody, you have these levels all based pretty accurately on the movie. And it was just fun to go through and try to see how far you could go. And it took me, on a random vacation, way after everyone was done playing this, generations later, I finally beat it, and it was a big deal for me. It's just, I don't know, it's just a game that me and my brother kept going back to, trying our best, getting our runs through there. And we loved Toy Story at the time too. That helped. But this is sort of like a system-defining game for me personally. And it won't play on those at-game things because it's too new, and it has a 3D claw machine section that's kind of like Doom. It just won't work on that.
Those janky ass. Yeah.
So it's right. The bleeding edge is it's squeezed as much as you could get out of the Genesis.
Okay. Cool. My number 2. Going backwards again. My number 2 was Super Mario World. First game I ever played in the SNES.
Be on the list.
Yeah, first game I ever played in the SNES.
First game I saw on the SNES.
Yeah. It was incredible how good making that leap to be that first game you play, it looked incredible when you first started playing it. Like, holy shit. Last game I froze. Last game I played, thank you, freezing. Last game I played on the NES was Mario Brothers 3. Moving to the SNES with Mario World, it was just another world. It was unbelievable. Yeah. You had from the raccoon tail to the cape. What a great transition that was, to be able to slam down the ground to hit enemies. And as you said, it was a lot more challenging than you remember. I flew through that game when I was in my prime, but going back,
try
it's
it now,
so
dude.
tough. Yeah.
Try it now.
I could fly through that game when I was oh my god, I wouldn't even stop running. But yeah, so yeah, it was definitely my number 2. Unbelievable game. A staple game for the SNES. So, all right. Got your number 2, Tony. Corey, your number 2.
My number 2 is Sonic 2 for the Sega Genesis.
Nice. Oh, mine too.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
There we go. Yeah, Sonic 2. Sonic was good, but Sonic 2 was.
Yeah, the first Sonic was not even making my list because it's just tedious, honestly.
Yeah, it's just whatever. But Sonic 2, bringing in Tails, getting just a little bit of a graphical upgrade there, and kind of co-op-y. Not. I mean, you had some stuff.
Mom says I can play. You just hand it to your little brother.
No, what it really was for us though, it was cheating co-op. The Tails person
invincible.
He's invincible. So he did all the heavy lifting
Yeah.
while you
literally
protected Sonic, and Tails would be the boss fighter. Tails would go to take out the more dangerous enemies every now and then. He would trigger. Of course, sometimes he would screw things up, and then you could yell at each other. But it was definitely
this was the game that I think really put Sonic on. They made Sonic originally to try to be a mascot, but Sonic 2 was what really, I think, drove that. Sonic Tuesday. I mean, come on.
Well,
we released games on Tuesday because of this game.
The thing about Sonic 2 that makes it different and way better than the first Sonic is it has a whole separate, almost metagame of the Chaos Emeralds, and pretty much a crazy reward at the time, I thought, for like, an optional objective. Have this whole like supersonic thing going on, which was like playground legend.
It was like a mythical thing.
It was a
Like
playground
I never
legend.
saw it. Like, you're
Yeah,
lying.
it's like how can you, no way that happens.
Yeah.
But then going back, you have then suddenly collecting all the rings, gathering lives like matters because you need to have 50 rings to get to those signposts to get in. Get a try at the crazy special sage, which was fun but also frustrating, and you had only so many chances. So it was more than just jumping on things. Like this wasn't just like and going right. It wasn't like a boring platformer to me. Like, but you had to like sort of bank stuff up and let's strategize and weigh exploration versus like wasting too much time. And then like so you would have a run and do you want to try to go for the emeralds or do you want to just get through the game with the most lives? Like there was a lot going on, and it was just this was the first game I really had on the Genesis, and sold the system to me because I played at a friend's house first, and it's just pretty much the peak sort of platforming that I'm interested in personally. So
Yeah. Cool.
that was it for my number two.
All right, number ones, guys. Mine's not a shock to anybody. I've mentioned it on pretty much every list we ever make.
Yeah.
It's A Link to the Past. It is the best SNES game to ever be released. It's one of the best games of all time, in my opinion. Best Zelda game gameplay-wise. The Mirror World was amazing. Just to have that experience, all of a sudden, like, I'm playing the game, and then you're like, wait, there's another world I have to go to? I remember that first transition to that world to this day, and I was a younger kid. Like, I was a kid at that point, and, like, it's just, like, it's imprinted in my mind. Like, I remember that vividly, not being able to attack when you're in that world. You're not supposed to be there yet. It was unbelievable. Love this game so much. Like, could play this game to death. I really cannot wait for them to remaster this game because I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen. It's my number one game. There's no question.
Cool.
Tony?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like
Yeah.
I had to really think about it because I mean, really any of the top 5 games. I mean, they're so close.
They're all.
But when I think about it, I mean, this one was the one I've replayed the most, both as a kid and a teen as an adult, because it's just so simple to get into. But like everything is just so fun about it. From like the moment you press start, and have to navigate your way to the castle, and pick up your uncle's sword, and start fighting your way through the castle, save the princess, and you have that moment of reprieve where it's like, oh, okay, cool, it's gonna be like this little quest, just get a couple pendants, and we'll be good. And it's like, oh, how wrong you are, kid. And it's like, oh shit, like all this bad stuff starts happening. Like, yeah, just bad stuff starts happening, and like Jim says, like once you think you've accomplished stuff in the game, like it's just like, nah, dog, like let's show you what the dark world is like. And you're like, what? And it's just like, you thought the map was big, now double it because you have a whole nother world to explore. Just like mind blown and stuff,
and then
like that.
Hacking that map to like go to that other world and then revert back to the other world real quick. And you're like, okay, now I get a heart container that was hidden before. It was like such a cool mechanic to mix into that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, it did a lot of groundbreaking stuff. I mean, just the mechanics of like the dashing of the Pegasus boots. You have the hook shot for movement. I mean, this might have been one of the first games for fast travel with the flute and the bird, because like you could just do that.
You could pick up and fly to the other area. Yeah, that made
exactly. Yeah, and it's one that, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Zelda 1 and 2 are really cool, but this is the one that I think pushed the series up to like a new echelon of like taking it seriously and stuff.
Absolutely.
I also remember it being like $100 almost.
Really? Holy shit!
I don't remember it being that much. My parents bought
it was
back
like
then.
$80 or something.
Wow.
Like, definitely.
Yeah.
It was
well,
definitely
my
one of the
parents knew how
expensive
much I loved the first 2 games, so that this was an instant buy for them for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Corey, what's your number one?
My number one Genesis game, Gunstar Heroes.
Yes.
That game just super fun. Just shooting shit.
That is the only game in the entire Genesis catalog that I could see like being up there. Because I'm sorry, like Genesis, like out of all the Sega systems, I don't know. I think it's overrated just because it's nostalgia. But
you just hate sports.
Huh?
Yeah.
You hate sports though, so that's a big part of what Genesis's library was.
Yeah.
I mean, they had some of their stuff. I mean, Sega had some of their own stuff. But
I will say that Tony Sports are the only sports available today. The esports. Yeah. We have nothing else right now. Go on.
Don't they not play online though because they don't want lag?
No, they play. They've been like, there's betting on esports right now.
Really
Anyway,
bad.
Corey.
Well,
Go on, Corey.
No, Gunstar Hero. It's just again co-op. Again, a big thing about this generation, especially, was just you could play every game together with people on the same screen.
That was
And
awesome. It was a great game.
having a brother same age, just every game we got kind of had to have that as an option. We couldn't really have any games that weren't co-op. But yeah, this one was just really fun because just shooting stuff, and it's very arcadey. And you just hop in and you go, and there was story wise wasn't really big story or anything, just mostly just a lot of fun, and and just memories with my brothers. What really elevates it is what the whole thing is. It's not really the quality of it so much, but again, it was probably one of the better shooter side scrolling games out there.
Yeah, I remember when the Wii came out and the Virtual Console launch. I remember Boot and I. He was like, "Oh, Gunstar Heroes is out on this." I was like, "Oh yeah, I've been meaning to play that because I wasn't super big into the Genesis, so I just bought it right away and we just played through it for like 2 hours and just I think we beat it twice actually. I think back to back.
I mean, all these games are super short. They're just so difficult. That's why they took forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, Mike, your number one.
My number one is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Everything I said about Sonic 2 still applies, but now you add more
Michael
diverse
Jackson music.
Yeah, the music is great. The music was good in Sonic 2 too, but you add a new character with new abilities that were kind of mind blowing at the time, with Knuckles gliding and climbing. You add all the power ups now have different abilities and properties to them.
And you had to stick the cart in the other cart.
Yeah, which was interesting. It's all McDonald's fault, apparently, because they made them rush out Sonic 3 first when this was all meant to be one game. And you take the Emerald concept and double it, which I've never done, ever. This was a real playground myth to me. People started talking about, like, Hyper Knuckles. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I've never done it because you can't play this game anywhere now, unless you have a working Genesis. It doesn't work on most of these games emulators. It's not in any of the collections, the two games connected, so it's kind of annoying, but it's just everything good about Sonic 2, and just take it to another level, add some new stuff. And the earlier levels the Sonic 3 levels were, I think, a little easier and a little more fun as a kid for me. It wasn't like hitting the wall of Metropolis Zone in Sonic 2. There was more fun, I think, longer. But cool. It's as much as I wanted from a 2D platformer, really.
Pretty sure you can play it on PC.
All right. Yeah, I think so. All right. Our list, guys. The SNES one was pretty easy, in my opinion, because I would happily concede Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI for the bottom two. So, like, number 5 is FF6 and number 4 is Chrono Trigger, because I remember playing them and I respect the hell out of those games. I played the other two, like Donkey Kong and F-Zero, more, but I would put them on the list in a second. And then I combined Tony Mario World 2 with Mario World to make it Mario World in number 3.
Yeah.
Super Metroid, and then Link to the Past. That's our top 5. Genesis-wise, it's a little tougher. If I took your top 3, I have a Toy Story 2, Maximum Carnage, Sonic 3, Gunstar, and Sonic 2. Are you guys okay at Sonic 2 at number 1? Because you both voted for that as your number 2s.
That's fine.
I mean, that's fine. It's close enough to Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Yeah, I mean, I gave you Sonic 3, but that's why I moved Sonic 3 down to 3, because Gunstar gets number 2 for that. So, because it wasn't number 1, so it gets that ahead. So, all right, that's your list. So, our final list, cool. FF6, Chrono Trigger, Mario World, Metroid, A Link to the Past, Toy Story, Maximum Carnage, Sonic 3, Gunstar Heroes, Sonic 2 for Genesis. That's our consensus list of these games. We're going to bring more lists to you guys as we go through this year. Keep tuning in. We appreciate it. You can write us podcast at allyoucangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, allyoucangeek. Like us on Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Keep tuning in. Stay safe. Stay healthy. See you guys next week.